How's it going, folks? Mark from Like Minded Lunatics, and I'm here with
Todd from Like Minded Lunatics.
That's right, the two founders here again to do a mea culpa video.
That's right, absolutely.
So, Todd, because you are responsible for this one, do you want to explain why we're having to film this?
All right, so back in October of last year, I came over to Mark's. We did a bunch of videos together, had a bunch of beers together.
A lot.
And when I come over for these, I don't do any research before, and you traditionally pick stuff that you know I probably don't know. So Avenged Sevenfold was one of those. I honestly, even though I'm a rock fan and was a rock fan when they were sort of at their height of popularity, I didn't know about them.
Right.
So we started watching the video, and, I said a few things.
You said a few things.
I guess to be clear and to be blunt, I was talking shit about some of the dudes and how they looked.
Yes.
In general, I was talking about the way rock and roll dudes looked at a certain time.
Yes.
But that isn't to say that I'm trying to walk any of it back, except to say that I forgot they were real people.
You forgot they were real people, and one of the people that you called an ugly human being,
I mean, you don't have to quote me,
is the Rev,
yeah,
who passed away from drug overdose.
So I found this out in the comments after the fact.
Yeah.
And I don't feel bad for most things I say. Even if I know I'm wrong,
Yes.
I felt awful.
About this one.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and it was one of those things, too, that I was, and still am, a fan of Avenged Sevenfold. But we've talked about this before. After you get to a certain age, you stop being a fan like you were when you were in your teens and early 20s. In teens and early 20s, if I said I was a fan of someone, I knew everything about them.
That's right.
Now I don't have time for that.
Yeah, and when you know that much about a band, you feel an ownership.
You do.
Yes.
And so I love their music. That video had been on my workout playlist,
right,
and I thought it would be fun to do. I had no idea that the Rev had passed away from overdose. No. None whatsoever.
Right.
So what we thought we would do is, number one, offer an apology.
Honestly, 100% from the heart. However blackened and shriveled my heart is,
yes,
I have to say 100%. I obviously didn't know. And, I didn't know.
And see, I didn't either.
And the song was rad. And I'm excited to hear more of their music today.
Yes.
I think that's the point.
So, and the song itself, we had no problem with.
No, that's right. It was just a badass song.
Some of the silliness in the video.
Yeah.
So what I thought we would do today is that we would take a look at two Avenged Sevenfold videos as a mea culpa.
Yes.
The first one is So Far Away, and this is the song that comes off of their, let's see, which album is that? Their Nightmare album from 2011.
Wow, fifth album.
Yeah.
They produced a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. And this was the song that was about the Rev dying.
Okay.
So I thought we would
That's the subject matter of this song.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I thought we would take a look at that one.
Yeah.
And then in the next video, we would take a look at another fun one, Bat Country.
Okay, cool.
So this one's going to be a bummer one, I feel like.
Good.
Next one, fun one.
Tear in my beer then.
Okay. So folks, we're going with beers tonight. You don't have to have an alcoholic beverage, but let's get something in our systems so that we can cheers to the end of the week, the beginning of a weekend, and to the memory of the Rev.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going with a Fresh Kicks IPA from Fourth Tap, one of my favorite, Real Ale. I'm sorry, Fourth Tap. Real Ale, one of my favorite breweries here in Austin.
And I'm going with the Live Oak Hefeweizen. I've had 735 of these in my life, so here's to 736.
We get shit on all the time because people from Germany are like, you can't drink Hefeweizen out of cans.
Oh.
If we don't drink it out of cans, we don't get it.
Yeah, also, we don't have good taste or decorum.
Right. That's right. Our content is evidence of that.
All right.
Avenged Sevenfold.
Let's make it right, Mark.
Let's make it right. Avenged Sevenfold, So Far Away.
Never feared for anything. Never shame, but never free. A life that healed the broken heart with all that it could. Lived a life so endlessly, saw beyond what others see. I tried to heal your broken heart with all that I could. Will you stay? Will you stay away forever? How do I live without the ones I love? Time still turns the pages of the book.
So that's messed up. Not in a bad way.
Yeah.
But that.
Yeah.
The rest of the band disappears and the Rev stays.
Right.
Still turns the pages.
Wow.
The book gets burned.
I love the sort of nostalgia of this. Riding the bikes in a group, knocking over trash cans.
Yeah.
Those cars with those big steering wheels that you'd spin around.
Yeah.
Nostalgia, that combination of romanticizing the past, but also the pain
Yep.
of not being there anymore.
And the trash, I'm glad you brought that up. So in looking at the research, M. Shadows had said that in an interview before this came out, that the Rev was someone he had known from the time that he was giving him a pump on his bike and they were knocking over trash cans.
No kidding.
Until the time that he had died.
Oh, wow. So that's an intentional shot.
That's an intentional shot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Place and time, always on my mind.
Ah, that's sad too, dude. Mm-hmm. Grocery store,
Yep.
they're gone.
Yep. Oh, and it's so, like, it's symbolically heartbreaking when you pass a place from your childhood and it's boarded up.
Yeah, and it's a place that's just kind of imbued with the memories of your life.
Yeah.
Of the things that have happened before that will never happen again.
My childhood gas station that I love and have told 100 stories about.
Yeah.
It's not even, it was a salon after that, which I was bummed. Now it's nothing. There's not even a building there anymore. And you're like, oh, it feels like such a shame. Not that it has to be a thriving gas station. Who cares?
At least the building.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because are the memories real?
Right.
Because
sort of discounts your feelings.
At least if there's a tangible building, you're like, well, that happened.
That place.
Yeah.
So much to say, but you're so far away. Plans of what our futures hold. Foolish lies are growing old. It seems we're so invincible. The truth is so cold.
It seems we're invincible and the truth is so cold.
Yeah.
Oh.
I got all those. I got Iron Maiden. I got the Slayer shirt. I got the Metallica shirt.
Yeah.
All that stuff we were listening to when we were kids.
Yeah.
Song the last request, a perfect chapter laid to rest. Now and then I try to find a place in my mind where you can stay. You can stay awake forever. How do I live without the ones I love? Time still turns the pages of the book gets burned. Facing time, always on my mind. I have so much to say, but you're so far away.
You know, it's giving me like WVH Distance vibes.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Well, and you can tell these guys, we're talking about these older bands, these older rock bands, you can tell that these guys are students of those bands because your ballad is a softer, sweeter song, little less plugged in, but still in your own songwriting sensibilities and the kind of message you'd normally do.
Right.
But just that's that softer track. I haven't seen the track listing on this album, but I would guess this is like track 4.
Right.
Or track 7.
That moment in the album.
Yep, little
where it's
transition
like,
moment.
We got to be a little bit serious
Gets
here.
a little deeper before we get hard again.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I love Shadow's voice in this because he's got that scream voice that he can do in melody, which is very, very difficult to do. But then he also brings it back.
Yeah.
You know, again, Ricky and I have talked about kind of the patience of the performer or a performer who's confident in what they're doing.
Yep.
That type of voice and how he's singing, it speaks to that, I think.
Absolutely.
And I'm not afraid. The ones that we love are here with me. Lay away a place for me. 'Cause as soon as I'm done, I'll be on my way to live eternally.
And then we get that scream from him. And then
again, like that's their sensibility. That's how they write songs. That part has to come out at some point.
Yeah, and I do like that it's leading into the guitar solo.
Yep.
I like those old rock and roll structures.
Yeah.
What I'm not a fan of is like when everything is just bled together.
Sure. Yeah, this feels very much like Nothing Else Matters.
Yeah.
You get that and then it goes into the solo right there at this point in the song.
You're right. It does feel like that.
Yeah.
Live eternally.
So what I like about the guitar solo too is that it feels it's contemplative, but it doesn't feel like Nothing Else Matters because it's higher toned.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel depressing.
No, there's sort of a soaring quality to it. It's something that's sort of flying, and the lyrics right before that
To live eternally.
Yes, there's sort of an angelic vibe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Without the ones I love, time still turns the pages of the book. It's burned. Place in time.
I'm going to go ahead and say, too, Shadows, the way he's saying burned is very Hetfield-esque.
Yeah.
Burn.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's got the...
Uh-huh. Yeah, drop the U kind of, hard R.
Yes.
And how many of your friends growing up walked around with knives?
I still do.
I don't, but I had like 2 friends who did, and one of my buddies is always like, "You're not walking around with that? You don't have a knife?"
Where's your knife?
Well, no, here, dude. Like, God. He was like embarrassed for me.
I don't want you to go out with a knife.
God.
Yeah, we had knives constantly.
Yeah.
Mind, and the light you left remains, but it's so hard to stay when I have so much to say and you're so far away.
All right, where's he gonna go?
Good question. Oh, no. See, don't you feel bad?
Dude, I felt terrible already.
This is a real human being. We are shitty people.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, actual photos.
And then we get that soaring.
Yep. Yep.
You know, it makes me think, and I've always wondered this. You know, do you think the lifestyle creates addicts, or do you think addicts are attracted to the lifestyle because it allows them to act as if their addiction is part of the lifestyle? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there are sensitive people who have a hard time going about life the way everyone else does, get through school, get a job, and just be happy doing that. And I think they find themselves with like-minded people, usually in a band or something like that, hanging out. And I mean, you know, falling into stuff that maybe isn't great long-term to feel good in the short term.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there are moments where you feel real good in that, but it catches up.
So an attempt to self-medicate or an attempt to self-therapize,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word.
And I don't know the man, right? So I'm just speaking about sort of my rock gods that I know have fallen, and that kind of stuff, what they said in interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck me, dude. I'm just thinking that we just lost Taylor Hawkins, too.
Yeah, I know.
That's a complicated lyric. Mm-hmm. I'll see you when he lets me. Your pain is gone. Your hands untied.
So far away, and I need you to know. So far away, and I need you to know.
It's, hard to believe that bands go through these kind of things and don't collapse.
Yeah.
You think through a lot of bands that have lost folks and just have been unable to continue because they feel like the entire spirit of the thing is gone.
Right.
But then you see examples like, seems like with this band, also with like one of our favorites, AC/DC,
Yeah.
where it's not a dishonor to go on.
Right.
And you can't be replaced. But to continue on in the spirit of that person
Right.
is sort of a testament to them.
I think so too, and it's one of those things too. I think one of the things that I think informed the jokiness of the last video is that we're 2 decades older than these folks, probably at the time when it happened, and so watching their video, we're old guys
Yes.
watching when that happened.
Yes.
But thinking back, so when I read into the history and all that kind of stuff, I was immediately reminded of Lane Staley and Scott Weiland and
Yes.
Kurt Cobain and from Mother Love Bone, and all of those guys that we lost. Chris Cornell,
Yes.
all those guys that we lost.
I know it's so amazing to me generationally to think about how many important folks we lost. And I guess recently Dolly Parton being honored, I'm like, it's so crazy to think that like so many of our heroes growing up, rock heroes, decades younger than Dolly Parton, will never get to be honored in that way.
Right.
It's kind of like you gotta like respect Dolly Parton and folks who have the longevity,
Who've been around.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things I've said multiple times on the channel too is that, like, for our generation, for that Gen X generation, the generation before us, the boomers, they lost their hero, John Lennon, to a maniac with a gun.
Right.
We lost our heroes to their own hands.
Yeah.
Whether it was overdose or literally by their own hands.
Yeah.
That's a trauma that's very difficult to overcome.
Sure.
And I think what happened is that, like, after the 90s happened, we're like, well, we can't do grunge anymore.
Right.
We transition out, and then that's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then this happens, and it's almost like a grunge thing.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, it's like this doesn't happen anymore. Why is this happening?
Right.
We know to take care of people now.
Right.
We know that this is not a sustainable lifestyle. Why is this happening?
Sure.
So I feel like that's also the other thing.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Well, folks, Todd apologizes. He was completely wrong.
And Mark apologizes.
And I apologize.
Careful.
And I'm going to go ahead and say, if you die tomorrow, I'm starting over the day after.
Well, thanks a lot.
And I would want you to do the same thing.
No.
Oh, you would mourn me?
This is over.
Well, folks, this was a heavy one.
Yeah.
We're going to now react to Bat Country.
Okay.
In the next video. I'll stop this one. This will be its own thing.
Good.
But then we're going to have some fun. Look at another video that's from Avenged Sevenfold, but not quite a bummer.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
I'm ready to look at them with new eyes.
Okay. Folks, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us a comment. Make it nice. Make it nice.
No.
You can be critical, and you can trash the last video. That's fine. Make it nice. And then check out our reaction to Bat Country.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you in a second.